my God.
Suck out the soup so it doesn't spray in the face.
Ah.
Are you excited to see the tent tonight, Nico?
Yeah, can't wait. You don't want to get out of
Right, Reggie?
Oh.
For many foreigners living in China, it's all too easy to stay in an Eastern bubble, jumping between cities. But for the adventurous few who are willing to cast their eyes westwards, a whole other world awaits.
I've come to the small town of Langmusi, which straddles the provinces of Sichuan and Gansu, but whose own history predates these arbitrary borders. It's home to ancient monasteries and epic mountains, with a mixed population of Hui Muslims and Amdo Tibetans, many of whom live a nomadic existence in the surrounding mountains. That's who we'll be staying with, but more on that later.
First, it's time for a crash course in Tibetan Buddhism. My classroom? A sprawling monastery that keeps watch over the town.
So I'm joined by Ben from Elevated Trips, and he's lived in Western China for over 11 years. He runs a tour company and also has an awesome YouTube channel, which you should check out. And he's also somewhat knowledgeable in the local Tibetan culture. So Ben, can you explain to us, where are we today?
Okay, so this is SERTRI Monastery. This monastery was built in 1748, has about 300 monks in residence that live here. This is a GELUGPA sect monastery, which is just one of the many denominations of Tibetan Buddhism. And you know the GELUGPA sect because they have these big moon-shaped yellow hats. So we're gonna go inside the monastery today and check it out.
Yeah, let's go.
So every monastery has a pilgrimage where the whole monastery is actually surrounded by these prayer wheels. Each of these prayer wheels is filled with thousands of pieces of paper, and each of them is inscribed with a special Tibetan mantra that says Om Mani Padme Om, which is the prayer for compassion for all living beings. What the Tibetan pilgrims do is they walk around and they're going to spin these wheels as a form of worship to pray for all living beings.
You really don't have to be a Buddhist to be moved by the beauty of this monastery and the devotion of those who come here to worship.
Wow, this place is absolutely stunning. There are loads of different areas, and I mean, just look at that view. It's so beautiful.
As beautiful as it is, when the birds and the rain clouds began swooping in, we got the hint and headed into town in search of some local grub.
Okay, so when you're traveling in Tibet, just think yak, because you're going to be eating a lot of yak meat, okay?
Yeah.
So this is hand-pulled yak, which is awesome. And the yak here is all free range, all just wanders around the mountains and the grassland. So this is going to be some of the purest, most delicious meat you're ever going to have.
Do you eat this with the hands?
Hands, yep. So Tibetans, like, they have a saying, if you ask them if they use chopsticks, they say, yes, we have 10 chopsticks. It's a little dry rub, it's very nice.
No, it's so good.
You're going to find this dish, momo, all across the Himalayas, from Bhutan through the Tibetan Plateau, even through Nepal. You really want to add a little bit of this homemade spice. Suck out the soup so it doesn't spray in the face. That's yak meat. It's good. So fresh.
That is so good. Yeah, it's really good. Yummy.
If you go to visit a Tibetan home, you're probably going to end up eating this.
I'm okay with that. That's really good. Okay guys, so we are packing up our stuff because tomorrow is going to be a long day. We're going to go for a hike, and then we're going to stay with the nomadic family in the grasslands. So we need to make sure we have lots of warm clothes. I'm a little bit worried because the weather is forecast to piss it down all day. So on that note, I'm gonna get some rest in my nice bed before I sleep in the wet, cold tent. So after a quick breakfast, we've met back up with Ben, and today we're going to go on a hike. And the entrance to the hike is in the second monastery in town, which is just an amazing start to the hike. But I was wondering, what's the difference between this monastery and the monastery that we went to yesterday?
So one monastery is in Gansu, one monastery is in Sichuan. The other reason that this monastery is different is because it's much older. Right. This monastery was originally founded in 1413, so very, very old.
Wow, I can't believe we're in Sichuan, so that's our third province of this trip so far.
So the Tibetan word for Langmusi is actually taksang lamo, which literally translates to den of tigers. So it is thought that historically in this deep cut gorge that there actually used to be tigers living in these caves here. So of course there's no tigers anymore. But
are you sure?
I've never seen any yet.
So, no tigers, as far as I could tell, but the altitude itself was enough to leave me breathless. The town of Langmusi sits at 3,300 meters, and the high point of today's hike, if we have the legs to reach it, is 4,500 meters. So, we better get marching.
You appear to have ground to a halt though. What's going on?
It's time for some snacky snacks.
Alright.
So we stopped in this very beautiful area, and it's all like open and there's mountains surrounding us. Jack is taking our drone up on this side of me. Ben is on this side, taking his drone up. And here are some of the sick drone shots that we got. So, we have been hiking for a couple of hours now along the gorge, right?
Through the gorge,
through
along
the gorge.
White Dragon River.
White Dragon River. We got to a nice spot earlier where we flew the drone, and then we walked a little bit further. We've kind of ascended up the hill. It's beautiful. These mountains are amazing. The foliage is starting to turn. It does feel like it might start to rain. So after our little break, I think we're probably going to head back down. How do you feel, Jack?
I'm excited for some noodles.
Yeah, let's cook us some noodles. And let's beat this weather. Right, come on then. Let's go.
There's no reward quite like a steaming bowl of noodles. Although, after jumping in Ben's car and going in search of tonight's host along a pretty bumpy road, I was worried they were going to come right back up where they just came from. Oh, but look at that view though. Definitely worth the bumpy journey.
So we've just driven to the grasslands to meet up with the nomadic family. We're going to stay with them for the evening. They've just lit a fire out of yak dung to keep us nice and toasty, and he's just gone to get the yaks in for the night. But we're going to set up our own tent because we don't want to impose too much, but we are going to join them for dinner once the dinner is ready. So let's set up our tent. Yeah, so the yaks are going to come in, they're going to be here.
Yeah, on the rope.
On the rope.
Yeah.
Okay, so
they separate the babies from the mummies.
Okay.
So that the babies don't drink all the milk at night. And that way the babies can
drink a little bit of milk in the morning, and then they milk the rest.
So professional. So Ben, how cold does it normally get in the evening up here?
So right now, tonight, it'll probably be around 5 degrees Celsius, but winter time it'll probably be -15, -20 degrees Celsius here. Most of this area would probably be covered in snow in the winter.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's why, of course, they move down in lower altitudes for the winter, because they're moving to their winter homes. So this is kind of their summer or fall pasture.
Okay, cool.
You excited to sleep in the tent, Nicola? You excited to sleep in the tent tonight, Nico?
Yeah, can't wait. Yeah, no, I am excited. I'm just a bit concerned about the wind. But you are gonna break my wind. And
Well, we've got Ben's tent to block the wind now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Hello, mate. Oh, hello.
I think we should leave them to go about their business and go see what's for dinner.
I never know dances.
Ooh, I spy more dumplings. That's our host, Gombo Tashi, and his hard-working wife. Their sister-in-law and neighbour popped around for dinner with her adorable baby. Although, as is Tibetan custom, they won't eat until we have finished.
So tonight we've got some more momo, but inside these ones are actually sheep and some leek and things like that. So they're going to taste a little bit different. So I'm excited to try these ones tonight. Ah. Did not follow Ben's advice. Hang on. Right. They're really good. So the meat is like a little bit lighter than last night's. The yak meat was quite dense, and having the leek inside makes it have a little bit of a crunch. I think these are better than last night's. What do you think?
Like more? Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a very rich meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think these are really good. I would like a little bit of vinegar because this la is quite spicy.
Anyway, I think we should take our leave because they are too polite to tuck in front of their guests.
How are you feeling about camping?
I'm feeling okay. We've got lots of blankets. It's feeling pretty toasty. The wind's quite strong though, so it's making quite a lot of noise. So maybe that, but I have got some earplugs. So yeah, I'm quite excited. And after the big hike today, I'm pretty exhausted. So yeah, let's get snuggly.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, I'm not moving. And just as well, because the tent is surrounded. So I'll let Jack handle the morning rounds.
So our hostess got well before dawn to begin her chores. First, she collects the yak poop, which they dry out and use as fuel for the fire. As Ben explained, they keep the yaks on a rope at night, which keeps the herd safe from wolves and stops the babies drinking all their mother's milk. Once she's got the milk she needs, it's the baby's turn. Meanwhile, the fellas are taking the sheep back out to pasture, and I'm gonna put the drone up, which hopefully should get Nico to wake up.
So it rained quite a lot in the night, which was quite loud. I think it's just stopped, which is good because I really need to pee. But overall, I had quite a good night's sleep. I am so cozy. Really, really don't want to get out of bed. Hiya.
Hiya.
How's it going?
Going well.
What have you been doing this morning?
This morning I've been watching the ladies, the Tibetan ladies, pick up yak poo, put it in their baskets, watching them milk their cows, and I just took my drone.
Cows?
The yaks. So when I got up it was still raining,
Yeah.
but a couple of hours later So now looks like the sun's coming out. Beautiful.
Yeah. See, I like to wait until it stops raining. Now I'm gonna leave my little comfy camp and go get some breakfast. Oh yeah. So we just got up and come to their tent and they've got some milk tea on, and this is the fresh milk from the yaks that you saw the milk this morning. It's very warming and very fresh. Lovely, got some nice tasty bread. Looks good. I'm excited for breakfast. Really good egg. Very tasty.
This is like the perfect texture. Mix it with until I take a breath. Okay, so this is Tsampa, T-S-A-M-P-A. This is kind of the staple diet of Tibetans. And basically it's ground barley flour mixed with melted butter and milk tea and a little bit of sugar. It looks a lot like a Play-Doh ball, kind of a cookie dough ball.
Yeah.
And this is what Tibetans eat every day of their lives for breakfast. So
okay. So do you just bite it or
yeah, just bite right in.
Okay. It's like a little bit sweet. It kind of tastes like cookie dough, I guess.
Yeah, cookie dough.
I imagine it's got lots of calories to keep you very active throughout the day. Yeah, it's good. I like it.
Wow, that was quite the feed. So we decided to go for a wander through the valley to walk it off. And Ben kindly shared some background on this unique lifestyle.
So this is one of the last semi-nomadic cultures in the entire world, which makes it really significant. Every roughly about 30 days, they're going to move with the rhythms of the grass. So they'll bring, maybe each family has about 100 yaks. You can see maybe there's about 20 different families here in this valley. They'll graze here in this valley for about 30 days, graze until the grass is totally finished, and then move to the next valley for the next 30 days. And they're basically doing that for about 6 to 8 months between May and November. Once November comes, obviously it's quite high altitude, all this grass gets quite brown, they all move to a lower altitude and go to their winter pasture, which is usually closer to Langmusi town.
So obviously you just said that this was one of the last places in the world that this semi-nomadic lifestyle happens. What do you think the future holds for this?
Yeah, every year, of course, you have more and more nomads moving into town because, you know, the conveniences of life are always, you know, very promising to have running water, electricity, all those things. These guys have a pretty harsh lifestyle. But just because they live out here, don't think that that means they live in utter poverty. A full-grown yak, maybe 5 or 6 years old, is probably worth about 6,000 renminbi, about $1,000 US. Wow. For every yak you see, that's like an iPhone 12 Plus. kind of each one is like worth that much, right? So for us, we don't see a lot, but this is actually their entire bank account, and this is their entire lifestyle. So yes, some people are moving into towns, but I think these people really love the simplicity of this lifestyle. It's all they've known. And when these people go into towns, big towns like Xining, Chengdu, towns of a million, couple million people, they get really overwhelmed and they don't know how to navigate that system. They don't really have skills that translate into that city system. And so therefore, I think a lot of these people really enjoy living out here. Even though it's a hard life, it's a good life for them. So my friend Sanji says, if we have the yak, we have enough. And what that means is for them, just having the yak is enough to self-sustain their entire lifestyle. So if you think about it, there's no trees out here. No. What they use for fuel is the yak poop on the ground. They dry it and they burn it in a stove. So that's their source of heat and their source of cooking. The yak traditionally is how they made their tents. They made their tents out of yak hair. Their clothing was made out of yak hair. Yaks were their transportation. So yaks were basically their entire lifestyle. Yeah. They lived self-sufficiently with it. And I think we could learn a lot of lessons from that.
So Ben was just talking about how the nomads live quite a simplistic lifestyle, and I totally see that. They just have their necessities, and out here it's really beautiful and really peaceful. What I have noticed, however, is that the women seem to do a lot of the work around here. The men take the yaks off to graze, and the women do pretty much everything else. They wake up before dawn, pick up yak poo, they milk the yaks, they cook, they clean, they look after the camp. Yeah, I'm not too keen on working that hard. I would like a simplistic lifestyle, but I don't want to work so hard. In our family, Jack does a lot of the work and I'm okay with that.
And after having a go with the slingshot the men use to herd their yaks and fight off wolves, I realized I'm probably best off sticking to making videos.
This area of China has so many incredible views, and it's also been really interesting to learn more about the local Amdo Tibetan culture. We love exploring on our own, but having someone like Ben who's really knowledgeable about the area was amazing, and we couldn't have made this film without him. So go and show him some love, guys. Go over to his YouTube channel, I'm gonna leave the link below, and click subscribe because he has some amazing videos just showing you exactly what this place is about. And as I mentioned before, Ben has a business called Elevated Trips, and they bring people to these wonderful locations. So if you're interested in coming here, then check that out. Okay guys, I'm gonna wrap this video up. As always, like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.